Good morning, everybody. Today is July 3rd, 2022, and I'm Merrill Needham. Welcome to the reboot of Between Two Guitars. Sorry I've been away for a while, but the short answer is that I have a new real-world job in the securities industry, and a certain government agency called FINRA wanted to make sure that what I'm doing here has no conflicts with what I'm doing there. Additionally, I'm also studying for some pretty heavy-duty exams, so that's kind of had to take priority as well. But we've got the long weekend, 4th of July, happy birthday to the United States, and most importantly for those of you watching this video is you've got a cookout to prepare, either today or tomorrow. And you may be like me where you're handling the music and the food, or something that I've done in the past, or what I may be doing tomorrow. I may be handling just the music as a guest, which I've done before and love to do. What's very important when you're handling the music for a summer cookout, 4th of July, Labor Day, graduation, somebody's birthday, or just, hey, let's just get the gang together because it's the 5th anniversary of when we saw this band and we want to all get together. So when you're getting, well, probably not that one because those are going to be a bunch of music fans. What I'm doing here is a playlist that's designed for people that don't listen to music as kind of a way of life. Somebody that's not like you, that has a large, or me, that has a large record collection, that plays guitar, that goes to concerts. These are people that like good rock and roll music or funk or pop. These are people that just really don't know the names of the artists, don't really care, but want to hear their favorite song at the cookout and want to hear music that they like. There's also a couple of very important reasons why you want to have a good playlist, and it's usually to keep people away from you while you're trying to make sure that you're making their food exactly how they want it. You've worked very hard to put together a playlist. You probably don't want to be taking requests all afternoon. You want to enjoy the party too. You want to have an adult beverage if you do that, or some other thing if you do that, or eat or catch up with friends, or you name it. I don't want to be sitting there messing around with my iPhone or messing around with the CD player or however I'm delivering music to the group at that time. So what do? And it's really simple. Lots of greatest hits and some soundtracks. Yeah, these are going to be the most boring Captain Obvious choices, and for those of us that listen to music and go to shows and all of that, it may not be what we would pick personally, but remember, we're helping to control the mood of the party. If you're picking the music, that's pretty darn important. So I take that seriously when I do it, and here's kind of a guide for you. Now, I'm going to do a normal top 11 like I normally do, but I would want to just say you don't have to play full albums. In fact, you shouldn't play full albums. This is more of a guide from some stuff to make sure that you do play. And when you do play all of this, you can add in a little more of this. Which is my honorable mention for today. Goodbye June, See Where the Night Goes. It's their new record on Earache. It's still my number one for 2022 so far, a little more than halfway through. If you haven't heard it yet, definitely listen to it. But guys, this should not be the focal point of the cookout music. Play it. Play Goodbye June, but make sure you play these two, and everybody will be happy. So without further ado, let's go to our top 11. Now, at number 11, what I'm doing here is giving you a public service announcement if you have children. especially if you have 12-year-old daughters that are going to be at the cookout. You got to make sure that you play some of their music and do it early and mix it in. That way they'll be happy. That way they'll leave you alone, because they're going to ask you to play this if you don't already. So grab your Billie Eilish and go ahead and play it. Even if you don't like the music, even if you're holding this record, never having listened to this album because it's your daughter's and couldn't tell you which songs are what on here, still play it. Just make sure you ask your daughter first which Billie Eilish tune to play. I would say Bad Guys simply because although it's not on this album, because I actually know how to play Bad Guy. Gibson, on their Gibson app, their instructional app that I've talked about before on the channel, that's one of their songs. So I've learned how to play it. It's actually a pretty good song. So if you haven't heard Billie Eilish before, yes, it's pop music, but she's kind of cool. So number 11, Billie Eilish, Happier Than Ever. This record right now, you can find it at virtually every Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and Target. And there's usually 3 or 4 copies. So if you're doing vinyl for the cookout and you want to play it, there's places that are open right now that you can run and get. At number 10 is we have an album that includes a song that is almost like, I guess you could call it the cookout anthem. Joe Walsh, but seriously, folks, the song that I want to talk about on the album is naturally Life's Been Good. It's that song that we've been playing at cookouts for 20, 30, 40 years. It ends up on classic rock radio right about this time of the year. It's a summer song. It's a cookout song, has some great lyrics. It's the one, my Maserati does 185. I lost my license, now I don't drive. I will not actually try to sing on this channel, I promise you guys. Anyway, this was a $4 pickup at a bargain bin, which is where you're going to find it because the album's been long out of print. But you can get the music digitally easily. If you find it and you find it in good condition, snap it up because the rest of the album is pretty good. I really like the instrumental. The track is called Theme from Boat Weirdos. It's Joe Walsh, y'all. Anyway, number 10, Joe Walsh's But Seriously, Folks, featuring the hit single, Life's Been Good. At number 9, keeping with the Captain Obvious, keeping with the 70s, we've got Boston's first album. Now, the album's getting older. It's getting close to the 50th anniversary of this record, and hopefully when it comes out, there'll be a nice 50th anniversary reissue because my copy's getting kind of beat. This is music that I almost think may be part of our DNA, that people may be born knowing the words to More Than a Feeling, even if you've never heard the song or haven't heard it in 20 or 30 years. This is almost like a greatest hits album. More Than a Feeling, Peace of Mind, Foreplay, Long Time, that's side 1. Rock and Roll Band, Smokin', Hitch a Ride, Something About You, and Let Me Take You Home Tonight, that's side 2. Boston, they didn't release many records, but those first 3 with original singer Brad Delp, may he rest in peace. I mean, it's just great, great classic rock music. It's happy music, upbeat. The lyrics are fine. You don't have to worry about kids not hearing this or that. It's just great music to put on during a cookout, and everybody's going to hear it. Everybody's going to know it. People are going to get up and dance. Boston. At number 8 is another record that thankfully you can pretty much get everywhere, but anything by Prince. I grabbed Prince and the Revolution, Purple Rain, because that's going to be the album that's got music that most people know. And like Boston's first album, this is a greatest hits. And it's Let's Go Crazy, title track Purple Rain. You just can't do wrong. So at number So 11, 10, 9. At number 8, we have Prince and the Revolution, Purple Rain. At number 7, and it looks like I forgot it, so let me go grab it real quick. This is what happens when we do live internet, is you realize that you forgot to grab probably one of the most important and really the only hard rock album, really hard that you can get away with, and that's Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. Everybody knows the song Welcome to the Jungle. Everybody knows Sweet Child of Mine. Even if you don't listen to rock and roll music, you probably know this record. In fact, I had a roommate in college for a short period of time. This was at the Citadel, and when I asked him what kind of music, he says, I listen to 3 kinds: country, western, and Guns N' Roses. And that's exactly what he said. I'm not gonna give you his name, but you kind of get the idea. And there's a lot of people like that. So make sure Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction is in the playlist. So there you go. At number 5. 3. Yep. At number 5, we've got the Eagles' Greatest Hits Volume 1. And live television. So, Eagles' Greatest Hits Volume 1. It's one of those greatest hits records that I was telling you about. Everybody knows every song on this record, so you could really get away over the course of an entire cookout, maybe playing this entire record. Mix it up, but everything here is fantastic. Take It Easy, Witchy Woman, Lion Eyes, Already Gone, Desperado. Great song to play at the end of the cookout when it's time to tell people to go. So make sure you have some Eagles. I grabbed Greatest Hits Volume 1. They have a second Greatest Hits album. You can use that one. Hotel California is like a Greatest Hits album of its own. You got to have some Eagles. All right, so now we are down to the top 4. And these are all heavy hitters here. At number 4, what I say about Greatest Hits. Journey Greatest Hits. There you go. Everybody loves Journey. Only the Young, Girl Can't Help It, I'll Be Alright Without You, Separate Ways, Worlds Apart. That's gonna make the kids happy because the song is featured in one of the new episodes of Stranger Things that just dropped over the weekend. So make sure you have your Journey. That was actually number 5, I'm sorry, was Journey's Greatest Hits. At number 4, what I say about soundtracks. And this is the soundtrack you want to grab because it's got stuff that's going to make the grandparents happy. Because it's going to have like your Dwayne Eddy and your Elvis and your Wilson Pickett and the Rooftop Singers and all that. And so you've got your 50s going in through the 60s and into the 70s, and it's all really good music. If you've seen the movie, if you're like me, you've probably seen the movie 150 times or more. One thing that I'm a little bummed about this record, and it might have actually gotten a higher ranking otherwise, is that Jackson Browne's Running on Empty is not included in this collection. You see, what happened is when the album was first released, or the soundtrack was first released, it was the song Running on Empty was a bonus track if you bought the CD. Because at that time, they're still trying, this is the 90s, they're trying to kill vinyl and push CDs, so you got a lot of that. So when the Walmart did the repress, they didn't think, because they really should have done the deluxe version. One more would have fit on this. That song Running on Empty is pretty important to me because that scene in the movie was, believe it or not, instrumental to me quitting drinking. So anyway, that song's missing, so if you go to buy that record for that song, you're going to be sorely disappointed like I was, but then you're going to look at the 32 songs that they did include on it, and you're going to be fine. This has also got your Skynyrd on here, so I haven't included a Skynyrd album. That's why there. So, there you go. Forrest Gump soundtrack. Grab it or something similar. At number 3, the highest ranking album that's not a greatest hit or not a soundtrack, but really it should be, and that's Parliament's Mothership Connection. Now, besides being a fantastic album, it's going to get people out on the dance floor. This is going to save you from having to play any 90s era gangster rap. You'll know it when you hear it. Those people that want to hear those songs, well, this record is probably sampled on the or a large percentage of hip hop that came out, not just in the 90s out of LA, but also in the 80s. I mean, you know, P-Funk, Who Wants to Get Funked Up, Mothership Connection, Night of the Thumpasaurus Peoples. I mean, this is a fantastic album. This is George Clinton and Bootsy Collins at their absolute best, putting together some fantastic music that, even though it's nearing 50 years old, if you can believe it, I mean, this music sounds fresh, like it come out yesterday. Luckily, I picked up a copy that the vinyl was in near mint condition, only paid $50 for it. But you can still find copies out there. There are represses available. This is a first edition that's just sounds amazing, and it's going to go on as soon as we're done. Parliament Mothership Connection. This is what keeps the party going. So that was number 3. At number 2, we've got another greatest hits, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I mean, I put Tom Petty up here over some of these other bands simply because the song Breakdown was the first song I learned how to play. And since I've been playing guitar, you know, Mike Campbell is a huge influence on me. Just his lead playing, also Tom Petty's playing across all of these songs. This is the greatest hits album. It was released, you know, while he was still at the top of his game. It actually was released before the Wildflowers album, so it'll give you an idea. So this is everything from the first album with songs like American Girl and Breakdown, and actually includes tracks from his first solo album, Full Moon Fever. Free Fallin' and Mary Jane's Last Dance is on this album as well. This is one of those ones that you can play the whole thing. So, number 2, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And at number 1, well, I'm going to break my own rule and pick something that's not a greatest hits and not a soundtrack, but it should be. That's Jimi Hendrix, Axis Bold as Love. I picked this one specifically because of the songs Castles Made of Sand, or really the song Castles Made of Sand, because of a lot of things that's been going on in the world recently. I think the world would do a lot better with more Jimmy in it. The great thing is although he's been gone for so long, and what he put out was only so much. I mean, there's a lot of live. It's almost like every live recording he ever did was bootleg, which is cool. There's a lot of great live Jimmy stuff that you can grab. Always play some Jimmy at anything. Bridal showers, weddings, play Jimi Hendrix. Funerals, marriages, graduations. You know what? I think if Jimi Hendrix was being played while people were taking the SATs, scores would go up. So, yeah, I mean, Jimi Hendrix, if you ask me at this point at 51 years of age, Jimi Hendrix is my favorite artist. Jimi Hendrix Experience is my favorite band. Always play it at the cookout. But the most important thing is play songs by artists that people want to hear. And if you're doing that, they're going to continue to let you play music. And yes, you can play music that people want to hear, that you also want to hear too. It's okay to admit that you've got a bunch of greatest hits albums in your collection. It's okay to admit that Creed may fit somewhere in there. And it's always okay to listen to rock and roll music. So, I want to thank you guys this morning for taking the time to watch. Hope you guys have a great time this weekend. Remember, light the firework, throw the firework. Do not keep the firework in your hand. You do not have to prove that you can outdrink everybody to be cool at the party. And you don't have to drink either if you don't want to. If you do, that's cool. But just remember that you may have to get home. And if you're doing this on 4th of July, you may have to get to work the next day. So have fun, just don't take it too far. Otherwise, hey, it's been great. And as always, rock and roll ain't dead. Gene Simmons is a moron. Goodbye, everybody.